Oh,
Hello, good afternoon. Thank you for tuning in. Welcome. And we have a beautiful guest today. Thank you and welcome to the beautiful
oh,
Michelle. Hello. Sorry.
what-
Welcome, Michelle. How are you doing today?
oh, doing great, Chelsea. Thank you so much for inviting me on with you. I've been looking forward to talking with you. This is sure delight. Thank you. An honor.
Me too. Thank you so much for agreeing to come on. And how do you pronounce your last name, Michelle?
My last name is Schiau. It's Romanian. So it doesn't, if you're in Romania, it's pronounced exactly as it's written. But anywhere else in the world, everybody wants to go with the Schiau or something like that. But it's Schiau. And then if you look
Schiau.
yep. And if you look at the bottom where my name is, I have Himanakuya, and Himanakuya is my Huna name. And so that is the essence, the energy that we are given after our seal, and they find the energy within. And the Himanakuya means he is first fire, Ma's first light, Na's of the many, and Kuya is of the grandmother. So it's the grandmother of the first fire and the first light of the many, she who sparks all, is kind of a translation. But the
Wow.
Huna is one of the many and many of the one, and we are all one. And that's what we have to get back to.
Wow. So you are the spark of the light, that grandmother spark.
Supposedly.
One of
Supposedly.
the many and many of the all. Is that
Many of the one. Who, that's what Huna means, the Huna itself. So all the people that have gone through the seal to find their energy essence, the essence within it, we are all one. There's no differentiation. The elementals, the ancestors, we're all one. All the people, planetary, galactic, everywhere. All living beings, all sentient beings. So we are one of the many, many of the one. How one acts affects all of us, and how the many act affects one of us.
I love that. I just wrote that down. One of the many and many of the one.
Yes. Yes, I'm very
But you make
grateful.
a rap song out about
One of the many,
many,
many of the one. And the beat. I love it. A nice afternoon of snow and rap.
I can get down with that. I'm all about it. I love it so much, and I love your spirit. I understand you ride a Harley. Is that
I
right?
do. I do. And I love it. I put about 10,000 miles on this summer. I ride the Harley more than I drive my truck. But
What
yeah,
a
no.
cool chick. And literally very cool if you're going to ride your Harley right now out in the
Well,
snow.
yeah, it would be really cool and very dangerous with all that snow and ice out there. No,
Oh, I
she's put to bed for the winter.
bet. Okay.
We'll
Okay.
we'll resurrect her in the spring when it's nice and warm out and the streets are dry.
Oh, does she have a name?
I call her Belle, Maroon Belle.
Belle.
Mhm.
Awesome. I
Yeah, we
love it.
have to name them.
Okay, awesome. Well, I've seen, so you were on the little truthathon that was a couple Saturdays ago with Lewis Herms, and you did an interview with Katie Rain and Lewis Herms, and that was beautiful. That's on Katie Rain's channel. And also, I didn't even know you had a YouTube channel. I was just like, I wonder if I can find anything if I search her name on YouTube. And I found out that you do have a YouTube channel, and you had a video there where you interviewed Nick Sylvester and Kristen from Arcana Shores. And that was so good. Such a good video. You guys shared a really beautiful message. So if you want to see that, you can click on the community tab. I shared it, and definitely subscribe to your channel. But I just mentioned, like, I haven't heard like Michelle's story.
Michelle story.
Schiau, right?
Michelle Schiau, that's it. Yes. I'm
Michelle Schiau. Who is Michelle Schiau? So I
well,
would love to just hear from more from you. Um, who you are, what your background is, whatever you'd like to share.
All right. Well, I'm 100% Romanian. Both my parents were from Romania, so I have that heritage. I'm an adventurer. I live in the Colorado mountains, so I love to be outdoors. And if it were up to me, I would never be indoors. I feel much more at home communing with nature and the environment. So I have the river across the way, and I have the mountains that I can walk to in 20 minutes. And then I'm also close to town so that I have all the conveniences of that. In terms of my background, I know that I have had many lives, and we all have. We've been everything. We've been Black, we've been white, we've been indigenous, we've been oppressors, we've been the oppressed, we've been the tyrants, we've been the slaves, and we're currently slaves again in this matrix that we're trying to run from and eliminate this matrix altogether. So I'm a seeker of truth. I want to be a help to unify all peoples because there's been enough division. We don't need division anymore. And this matrix has encouraged division. Everywhere you look, from the time you're born, we're all born, we all come into this world naked, screaming, and soaking up all the energy and information we can get. And then we're stifled. We're sent to the schools, which I do not call education institutions, but more of an indoctrination institution. And from there, our spirit is no longer the spirit we came into this world with. It's been, the indoctrination centers are trying to remove our spirit from us. They want to instead instill their slavery element and their indoctrination and the oppression. And people think that the United States and Canada are free. If you think about it, we're really not. We're no different than slavery from 3,000 years ago. What did they do then? They went to work every day and they came home and maybe they had a place to live and some food to eat. What do? We work all week and maybe have a home and some food to eat. So the slavery element has not left. And that's the one thing with the matrix that we have to eliminate and will be eliminated. And I think the deep state that has been governing us for so long and ruling us, they are no longer going to be able to operate as they have. The status quo is going to be gone. The government as we know it are all going to be gone. We are going to end up replacing them with the spirituality that we came into this world with. And that's one of the things that we're really working toward, is to regain our spirituality as the indigenous people did. If you think about it, going back hundreds of years, thousands of years, everybody lived in a community. There was no superior person. There was no subordinate person. Everybody had equal ground. Everybody had an equal say. Everybody's opinion and thoughts were equally important, and they shared them. If you look at the indigenous peoples of Turtle Island, North America, we got our Constitution from the indigenous, from the Iroquois. It was a matriarchal society. They would live in log cabins where you had the entire family. The families or the village raised the children. The children knew all the grandparents. They knew all the aunts and uncles, and not just their immediate grandparents, but the grandparents of their friends. And that's what I think we're going to go back to as a council. We have to find the love and light and the equality that once existed in all of us.
Beautiful. And so have you, what was your background in as far as like coming up, and did you used to have a job or?
Oh yeah.
What's
had many jobs. Jack of all trades, master of none. But one of my favorite jobs was as a teacher. I was a high school teacher. So I taught math and Spanish, but I taught boys and girls, and they were my kids. And the one thing that was really disheartening is the fact that when I would get them in high school, they had no idea of critical thinking.
Mhm.
Everything was rote, it was indoctrinated, it was pressured into them. So to get them to question was really, it was a task. But that's the one thing I used to tell them: read. When you're done reading, read some more, and question everything, including me, because I could throw out anything and you have to discern whether it's correct or incorrect. But if you don't have opposing views, how are you going to make a decision for yourself? And we all come in with our own beliefs and our own opinions, but that, and to us, they're correct, because there is no right or wrong. But if you believed in many gods and I believed in one God, I'm going to stick with my beliefs, but I should also look at yours. Why are you believing that? And question, why do you believe that? And you should be questioning me. Why do I believe it? No matter what the thing is, if you're pro-gun or opposing gun, anti-gun, anti-Second Amendment, why? You need to see both sides so that you can question. So I used to do that with my kids, is make them debate, but I'd let them choose their topic. But if they were pro something, I made them debate the con side, just so that they would look up more information. And that's one thing that's very disheartening. The other thing that I noticed in this country, people take advantage. Things are too easy here. Everything is taken for granted. My students that came from Eastern Europe, from China, from Puerto Rico, and this is a great example, they were all ready like sponges to learn as much as they can and absorb as much. They wanted to succeed. The same kids that, because we had a huge Puerto Rican community in Cleveland, the ones that were born in Cleveland could have cared less. They were some of my worst students. But the ones that came from Puerto Rico, because they didn't have all the advantages, really took it to heart and really worked hard at it. So I think we can use that as a microcosm of what's going on in the world right now. Brazil has a huge protest going on. Bless you. Has a huge protest going on. Europe, they're protesting. But here in the States and in Canada, well, Canada had the good truckers movement. But here in the States, it's like, nothing's happening. They're not hurting enough. I think we really have to get to a point where you're down in the dark so that you can emerge in the light. And I see that as a detriment to our mentality here. The other thing is, we've got to quit judging. Our government leaders, supposedly, which we should not have, because we don't need to be governed. We need to utilize our unalienable rights that were given to us from God. Man can't take those from us. We can cede them. We can let them have them, but they can't take them from us unless we allow it. And I think more of us need to stand up and say, hey, no more. We're not doing this anymore. We have to stay in our power. And the only way to do that is to go within. And in so doing, as I said before, we're all the same. There's nobody better, nobody worse, nobody superior, nobody subordinate. We all have an equal say, and we have to quit the division. There shouldn't be a race division. There shouldn't be a health division. There shouldn't be political parties. It should all be one where we come as a council together. And that's something we can learn from the indigenous people. They are closest in spirit to the spirit world, and they're also closest to the earth. And we have to live with the earth, respect the earth. They never took anything from the earth without replenishing it. And a lot of times they would replenish it with more than what they took. The same when they would hunt, they would do their ceremony first and be thankful to the animal, use every bit of the animal so there was no waste, and there was total respect, and they respected one another. We've got to get back to that.
Yeah, absolutely. Have you always been involved? Do you have indigenous roots and you kind of grew up around some of these elders and things like that?
I've been very fortunate. I know in past lives, yes, I was indigenous, yes. But I've done a lot of traveling, and I have spent time on the reservations, and I've been in the right place at the right time, where I've met the medicine man in Canyon de Chelly and spent a week there with him doing ceremony. In Peru and in Ecuador, I've met shamans, Inca shamans, and spent time with them and done ceremony. So I've always been in the right place at the right time to learn from them. And I could never get enough of it because it just felt right. It felt like I was home, like this is where I need to be, in nature and among spirit. And again, going within as opposed to without. We've gotten so comfortable here. There's too many material things, and I'm guilty of it too. I've got to become more minimalistic. We don't need all of this. These are just things. What's important is within us.
Yeah, that's so valuable. And I recognize also, like, I've been feeling that as well too, because I have a big house and I've filled it full of so much stuff. And, if I can't find something, which is often, then I'll just go buy another one. And it's like, I really need to just get organized and like get rid of so much stuff. But I'm coming into that resonance where it's like, I'm ready to let things go and I want to let things go. And I think it's also coming into that place of, as we find ourselves and we exercise our voice and we find our truth and we speak our truth and stand on it and be firm in who we are, then maybe I'm not so bogged down in all the BS, all the crap and if someone says something that triggers me, I'm how do you say that? Like, I'm coming in with neutrality. Like I'm feeling more neutral with with the stuff, and then also with people and my own energy.
That's beautiful. And that's where I think we need to go. What I've noticed recently is that our family is just expanding exponentially. I mean, we're meeting people, we're drawing, because our frequencies draw the people that are like us. You've always heard that we're a mirror of somebody else, and that mirror is being reflected out there. And as we're projecting our frequencies, as we're sending them out, we're bringing those same frequency, like-minded people in. And it's just tremendous. I have to compliment Louis Herms, because with him putting out that truth tour, that brought a lot of truthers in together. And that helped to begin the exponential family. So that is really nice. The other thing that I've noticed recently too, and one of the downloads that I keep getting, is to keep the frequencies high. There's a lot going on right now. And I know that in the last 3 weeks to a month, you've actually seen where some of the frequencies have been lowered. And I've been in different groups. And you start out real high with a high frequency, and then somebody comes in and they're into that 3D where they're more consumed with when is the RV coming? What about the government? Those are all moot points. The government isn't going to be as it is. It's gone. The white hats and the alliance have really worked hard, and they've been working behind the scenes to get us to a point where we are going to see abundance. We are going to see freedom. Right now, we don't have that. And collectively, we've got to raise the frequency of the majority, of the normies, of all peoples. And I'm not just talking about on Turtle Island. I'm talking worldwide, planetary, galactically. We all have to try to raise our frequencies, and the only way to do that is to go within and to project love and light. And get out of the ego, get out of the pride. No more of this me, no more of the control. And that's what's been hindering us for the most part, is all the control that's been put on us and that we've lived under.
Yeah, for sure. I'm all about love and light. And I know that that's the way that we raise the frequency. And I've always known that. I've always known that, like, it's really important that I spread love and talk about love a lot and bring love to light. And, like, also I think it's super important, like, to market with love. Like, market, what if businesses were marketing with love, and I've always known that, like, if we can just put the love out there, spread love, speak life, and that's why I call my business called Spread Love, Speak Life. Um, and just, connect with one another, raise the love, bring the love vibration up, elevate more people. Other people are elevating and bringing it up. It's like, that's how we elevate the whole world. And I've known that. And then, like, this whole thing happened, like with the COVID and everything. And then I went into fight mode, and I'm like, I've got to expose the truth. I've got to, wake up the people, and, and now it's kind of like, okay, the truth is out there. Like, I don't have to fight that anymore. Like, the people who are awake now for a reason. And now I guess maybe I'm a little unclear on the next step. I loved the video with Nick, and I loved what Nick said about asking the white hats to bring the truth to light. And I'd love to get your take on that. Like,
Absolutely.
asking them to just bring it out. Like, they have it all, like, bring it out.
Okay, there's a double-edged sword with that. Yes, they've got it all, and they need to start divulging that to the rest of us. But they've got to be careful on how they do it. Number one, if they just give it to everybody, it'd be like me giving a little 5-year-old, carte blanche to go into a candy store. They're going to go in and they're going to eat every little piece of candy, and then they're going to get very sick. And we'll be right back to where we are right now. So they can't give us everything, but they need to start divulging some. And the best way to do that, I think, is through the EBS. The one thing that brought us all together were the children. The demonic entities that have been stealing 8 million children a year, almost 1 million just in the United States alone. I mean, this cannot continue, and this needs to be divulged. And then you have all the satanic ritual that is done to these children, and the baby farms where all they do is keep the mothers pregnant to produce more babies so they can child traffic them. That needs to be exposed, and that's what brought us all together. But again, the White Hats and the Alliance are working behind the scenes. They're doing a lot of cleanup. They're still cleaning up a bunch of the dumbs in Australia right now. And we don't want to impede their progress either. We don't want to throw a monkey wrench in where all the good work that they've done is going to be negated. So yes, and that's the one thing that I keep asking, like Nick did, give us something, or at least tell us what we can divulge. Give us something. Give us that little
First arrest.
little niblet that we can put out there. But I also believe that, especially in this country, people are too comfortable. They're not to the point where they're really suffering that they will start critically thinking and say, wow, how did we get here? What did we do? What can we do to move forward and to progress in a beneficial way for all peoples, not just for the controlling factor. So, there is a double-edged sword there that I don't have the answers. I'd like for them to, divulge to us. It would be nice. And one thing that I really would like to see eliminated are dates. Other than on this plane, time doesn't exist. So everything is event driven. Let's let the events occur, and then we can move on to the next step. But let's see some of those events that are occurring that we're waiting for. I would really like that. And I think a lot of the people would like that too. In terms of the normies that are, I don't know how to wake them up until they're hit with not even a 2x4 anymore. I think it's going to be a 6x6 or an 8x8 that they're going to have to knock them with, because some of them are so brainwashed, and you can't blame them. They started in preschool, goes all the way through the colleges, and then they go to work every day. They're in the slave mill. They come home, they turn on the idiot box. If we could just turn the TVs off of everybody and make them start reading and researching, maybe that would help. But I don't have the answer to that. But I'd like their answer. Please give it to us.
Well, yeah, this is kind of like something that me and Katie were talking about too. And she was kind of like defending the white hat side. And I was kind of like, but this, but that, but Hillary was arrested in October of 2017 that we still haven't seen proof of, And so like I was kind of challenging her a little bit, but like what she's like, I know, like we can't just like replace one secret society with another secret, things that are controlling us. But we kind of came up with like, instead of, everybody making their own YouTube channel and publicly saying, white hats help, show us the truth, like white hats, give it to us, you have it, like show us. We can all just ping them like quantum energy. And so she went through and described how we can center ourselves and just quietly quantum ping the white hats to ask them to bring more truth to the public. So that was one little solution that we came up with, and that was pretty good idea.
That's a great idea. And and
all credit to Katie on that one.
And they hear everything we do. They know there's nothing that they don't know about you or me or anybody else for that matter. They know what we're doing, and what they really want to see are that people are of service to others. And the one thing that I think is a huge detriment right now is the judgment that people have formulated. It's got to go. The other day I encountered a couple that said, "Oh, you're for Mr. T, so that means you're anti-Semitic." I said, "No, I'm not anti-Semitic. I don't judge anyone." I said, "Does that mean then that we should judge all," because they were Jewish and they informed me that. I said, "Should we judge all Jewish people then by Rabbi Finkelstein, who said all the goyim should just be used as food and slavery?" I said, "You can't judge. Get rid of the judgment." But people want to put everybody into a little pocket, and that's got to go. The other thing that I'm really hoping things change soon and that we do get a little disclosure is there's been a lot of collateral damage. I mean, how many children have to die? How many adults that are in perfect health 3 months ago and then they go get the booster are dying? How many people on Alzheimer's in the past took years to develop where you didn't recognize somebody. Now it's happening where people, I know of one gal that's actually Nick informed me of this one gal that within 3 months has no recognition of any of her family and had to be institutionalized, and 3 months prior was in perfect health. I know of a gal that because she wanted to go scuba diving, got the jabs, went scuba diving, perfect health, and died of myocarditis. How many people have to perish? How many have to suffer? And then what about the people that I went and bought eggs the other day, $6 a dozen, 50 cents an egg. A year ago, they were not even 10 cents. They were about 8 cents an egg. So it's affecting a lot of people, but until they realize it and actually start questioning, why is this happening? We're not going to get anywhere. And that's what we have to get, is to the point where they start questioning, why is this happening? Where do we go from here? But the future is going to be bright if we can just get to that step and not lose any more people along the way. We want to bring them with us. We don't want to lose them.
Yeah, and I agree with so many things about that, especially about the no judgment part, because it seems like it seems like almost, the Christians are the worst part when it comes to judgment, when it comes to condemning others. Like, this is, I shouldn't put a label on it. I mean, it could be any religion, but any kind of religious judgment, it's like God was never about condemnation, like God is love. And I just never resonated with any of that.
That's good. And if you look at it, look at a little child when they're born. They don't have any judgment at all. They love everybody and everything. When my son was little, I gave him a camera so that he could take pictures because I didn't see it from his perspective up here taking pictures. But when they take it down there, it's a whole new world. And there was a world. He took them up bugs of dandelions, worms. But it was all life. And they don't have any judgment. And no, that's where the deep state came in. That's where your Khazarian mafia was to divide everybody. And that's where religion is. Religion has always been about control and division. And as long as you have people fighting each other, we're not going to progress as humanity. We have to become more humane with humanity. And it's all of humanity. So we have to find the humanity within us and spread that. And we can do it just by getting rid of the judgment. But then again, you got to get rid of pride and ego because that's part of the judgment.
Yeah, absolutely. So we also touch base on this as well with Katie is, how important it is to unite the truther movement with the indigenous people. And I'm so on board with that. Do you want to talk a little bit about that, or kind of like your vision, how that could go or what that could potentially look like?
Well, you've got the truthers and anybody that's in search of truth, that you got to put them all together. But I'm talking about just all peoples all around the world. And patriots means of the land, of the patria. So that's what a patriot is. It's not any one political group or another group. It's all peoples. And to unite them, we've got to get back to the original source. And if we learn from the indigenous people, one of the things that the governments all did was try to eliminate them, eradicate them, because they were closest to source. They had that spiritual connection. They didn't need to see with their eyes. You always hear about a blind person sees more than a seeing person. And it's because they use their other senses, their 9 senses instead of, 8 left, instead of just the one. We see something that's all 2, 3-dimensional, and that's it. But if you go within, you can open up and feel and see all the clear senses. So the indigenous people were close. They were close to the land. They respected the land. They're close to spirit. They always talked with their ancestors. We all have ancestors. Like I said, we've all lived many lives and we just keep reincarnating, but we can draw on that. And we all have our spirit guides that are with us. And yes, if we could go back to learning from them and utilizing those learnings and teachings to unite the truthers, the patriots, whatever you want to call them, but humanity as a whole, where we all respect one another and we all go within to communicate with spirit, we can learn an awful lot. And then you delve in truth, because truth is beautiful. Lies, you've got to make up more and more lies. Lies create wars. Truth does not. And you've got the truth and love, and that's what permeates from the indigenous groups. And I'm talking the Maori, the Aboriginal, the tribes all around the world. And we're all indigenous people because we all came from somewhere else. And we were indigenous to that area. So if we go back to the roots, all of our roots were based in councils. We worked as families. Everybody looked at everyone else's children. It was, when they say it took a village to raise a child, it did, because they looked out for each child. If one child did something that was magnificent, then the entire tribe or council all celebrated in his success. And just the opposite too. If someone was maybe led astray, they would all work together to bring it back into the fold. So no, it's a good working relationship where, again, ego and pride is taken out because there were no leaders. And most of the indigenous communities, and go back to Europe, go back to Asia, they were all matriarchal. And everyone had a say at the table. I guess King Arthur's round table, the round table would be a good example of that, or a good analogy. No heads.
Awesome. Cool. So, where can we go with this? Like, you know,
I think
what's
just,
your vision of where we can end up with this uniting of the people?
well, once the people are all united, once all the disclosures are given, there's a beautiful world of abundance that is awaiting us. You brought up the necklace with the Tesla in it. Tesla had free energy for all, but the Khazarians, the mafia, shut him down and gave Edison the rights because Edison was bought by them. We're going to have free energy. We're going to have abundance with Jasara and Asara coming in eventually. And it may take 2-3 years, but when it's here, we're all going to have a new world where we are having that type of council where we all have an equal voice. Government as we know it is going to be gone, and it's probably going to be gone very soon, probably within the next 6 months. So you won't have the two system where we just select from the Republicans this year, select from the Democrats next year, and nothing is ever done for the people. It's just for those two parties. So that's going to be eliminated. We're leaving the matrix, but we've got to raise the frequency of everyone so we can do it sooner. And I think the way to do it is like you're doing it, Chelsea. You're putting it out and broadcasting it. So if one other person sends this out to somebody else, that's one more person, and then somebody else sends it out. And I think that's what we have to do in the entire community, is to just spread truth and to have everybody promote it a little bit. And you're doing a fabulous job with it. And I thank you very much, because you've given us a platform where we can speak about this. And we do need to unite all peoples. I mean, there's no difference from somebody living in China compared to somebody living in South America or us right here. We're all the same. And we all want the same. We want a good life for our children and eventually our grandchildren.
Yeah, I love it. It's so important, and it's so important that we all get together. So that's why there are literally people like, but I do eventually want to have my own platform where, people, where it's kind of like a stage where people could stand up and say, I'm Kathy and this is how I show love in the world, and everybody's giving and everybody's elevated and everybody's equal. And I just think it's going to be beautiful when we can have some of those systems that are outside of our current system, which really is designed against us. So I'm all about being a part of building those systems. It's nerve-wracking though when you think about it, because for example, I was talking to Sophia Eric yesterday, and I also talked to her today too. But Sophia Eric was saying how, we just need these communities where we have our own communities, where there's our own healing center, our own, entertainment areas, but it's like, it's going to be our own utilities, our own water. And, it would be amazing to have our own communities and have like little pods of our own communities where we're growing our own food. And then there's also, options in there, kind of like a little city, but also, a little country. It's kind of like the balance, which is all great, but it's like, oh my God, okay, so now we have to get our own utilities and we have to like design it. It's like so much to do. But we're just in the beginning stages, so we're just
And
getting started.
it's very
Gotta start
doable.
somewhere.
You know, why do you think everybody is in the city? It wasn't because people wanted to go to the city. It was because the Khazarians wanted the control. They had us, they enslaved us. So they put everybody into the city where they could control everyone. Don't forget the guide stones and what's etched into the United Nations building is they were trying to eliminate 13 out of 14 of us. They wanted to get the population down from almost 8 billion to 500 million. How do you do that? Get them in a localized area and we can eliminate them. There's enough land to support and sustain all of us, more than enough. And I see that happening once we get out of this matrix completely, where we are in communities, like you said, where we're all working together. We have the free energy. Tesla has put out free energy. That's why he was shut up. He was shut down completely because how can you charge somebody if it's free? And that's their income. That and child trafficking, that's their major income right now. So we're going to have the free energy. We have the land that can support us. And if we're all working together as a community and we all share equally, you know, that's the one thing with the indigenous. If somebody went to hunt, they hunted for the whole village. Nobody went hungry. If somebody had food, even if they had to do without, they would make sure that nobody did completely without, that they would share what little they had so that everybody had something. And that's where we have to go back to. Again, we have to bring the humanity back into humanity and work with one another. And I think that's what we have to look forward to. But again, somehow we've got to get the little normies to wake up and see that what they're believing is not the truth. Actually, what they're believing is all a lie, and just about everything we've been told has been a lie. It's going to be interesting to see when we learn all the truths. But in the meantime, we just have to work together and put the word out as many people as we can. And I thank you for doing that because you've been great.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, I had this idea in the shower the other day because, like, you know, that's where we get our good.
Yeah.
That's where I get my good ideas. But it was like I've always wanted. Okay, ever since I saw the movie Straight Talk with Dolly Parton. I don't know if you know that, but it's like it's probably from the 90s where like she was one of those people that was like on the radio and they would call in, people would call in with their advice and she would give them advice and stuff like that. But like that would be, you know, just as part of our platform, it's like, okay, here's a phone number for everyone to have an actual helpline where people can coach you through, you know, if you need help. And like, it's just, there's so many, yeah, of course there's call lines out there, but I don't know if I trust anybody else. It's like, we're going to have to redo all these systems. I don't know how that's even possible, but I think it's if there's a way, then it will be made possible. And I think that there's people that need help, and there's also people that are willing to help.
Very true. And I think just having a conversation, and it doesn't matter. I mean, we could have a conversation with somebody that hasn't got a clue and totally disagrees with us, but at least have a conversation and a discussion. What turns me off the most is people don't want to discuss. They just shut you down and say, no, and walk away. And I go, come on, I'll listen to you. I've listened to you, now listen to me. No, they don't want to do that. So I think that's the other thing is what you just said, open it up. Let's have a conversation. Let's have a discussion. You know, I can learn a lot from you. Even if you thought that I wasn't going to listen, I'll listen. And that's one thing I do. I read about all sides. I want to know what's going on from all points of view. And then I'll make my own decision, but I want to know everything. So please, White Hats and Alliance, help us out. Give us just a little crumb.
Yeah. Well, there's certain things that's like, there's certain things that are totally just not okay, that are happening. And if there are, well, I mean, hopefully there are these underground rescues taking place and have been, why are they letting it perpetuate above ground? That's what I'd like to know, because there's still really bad, like we said, the human trafficking and all that, like a lot of that is still happening. So it's just baffling, that this is actually still happening.
Well, I think what they're doing is they're allowing the baddies to implicate themselves and to get caught in the act. And if they just shut it down on the top, there'd still be stuff going down, in the inner earth and underground. They know the plan. They know how best to proceed, and they'll inform us when the time is right, when the events have been taken care of, that they can do that. It's coming, and it's coming soon. But the one thing that I keep getting when I say, give me it, and they keep telling me patience. I said, okay, not my strong suit, but I'm learning. Every time I get hit with a 2x4, I learn a little bit more.
Awesome.
So we'll get it eventually. It's just, in the meantime, let's just keep our vibrations and our frequencies up, and let's just promote good with everyone, and just expect everybody to come through this well, and accept the fact that, it's not meant for everybody, but only put out good vibes for everyone, because we want good for everyone. We don't want anybody to be hurt in the process.
Yeah, absolutely. So I asked Katie this, like, if there are like Indigenous people that want their stories to be told, is there a way for them to reach out? And she gave me her email. So,
and I'll give you mine as well.
Okay. I don't know if you wanted to provide that or not.
That's fine. And we are reaching out to a number of them right now, which is really nice. And there's a definite high frequency among them, because they are so in love, and they are so balanced within with their masculinity and femininity. But they're really in tune with their inner self, and they're projecting love and equality amongst all. And again, people need to know what their unalienable rights are. They're bestowed upon us by God. Inalienable rights are given by man. Those can be taken and given. Unalienable rights cannot. They belong to us, and we should not cede them. But we should do it out of love, continue with all those rights. And, everyone is our brother, and everyone is our sister. Everyone is our mother. Everyone is our daughter, son, father. We're all one.
Yeah, absolutely. So how can people connect with you if, for example, someone wants to have their story be told?
I'll give you my email, SKIYEOW@yahoo.com.
SKIYEOW@yahoo.com.
Phonetic spelling of my last name.
Okay.
Makes it
Okay.
easy. Chelsea, thank you so very much. Love this. Love conversing with you. And yeah, just keep opening up to conversations. I think that's what people have to do, is listen to one another.
Sounds great. And I'd love to bring debate back if we could have people. It's probably going to get harder and harder for them to debate. Like, I don't know.
No, but it's nice to get different points of view and, talk about it and just have conversation. I think that's the way to go. And one thing that I never appreciated is being lectured to. So I don't want somebody telling me stuff all the time. I'd rather have a thought tossed out and then get me to think about it. And then I'm going to go look up information to see how I feel about it. And I think by just having conversations, kind of like we were doing today, is a good way, a good start, a good opening for anybody. And go and look it up. Don't take my word for anything. You know, you've got to do your own research. Everybody should do their own research. And don't rely on the TV. Get rid of the damn TVs. They're called an idiot box and tell lie vision for a reason. They've been telling us lies forever, and you've been watching it. And subliminally, they've been really affecting us. So get rid of the damn TV and do some reading, research, and look up information elsewhere. Scribed is a great place. Jason Q got me on that one. SCRIBD. It's $11 a month, but you have access to documents that they're incredible. And just go to the documents. Don't read the books. Just go to the documents. A lot of them are unredacted from government, recently declassified, but it's a great source of information.
Wow,
There
that's
you go,
awesome.
real education. Yeah.
Okay. Sounds good. And if anybody, I know you're kind of you're like a spiritual teacher. If anybody is having a hard time or there's something that they're needing to let go of, do you have a process that you can recommend for that, or a way that you do it?
I personally meditate, and I do protect myself and ask for guidance from my spiritual guides, my higher self. But go within, take the time, 5-10 minutes a day, and just try to get out of your head and into your heart. Just open your heart up, close your mind, try to quiet the mind.
Okay.
But that's what works for me.
Awesome. That's great advice. I actually had an appointment this morning and I was like, I want to start meditating. She asked me if I meditate and I said no, but I need to. So that'll be a good place to start. Thank you so much, Michelle. Schiau.
That's really good. Very impressive. I used to tell my kids, they come into the room, how do you say your last name? Meow, Schiau. It works.
I envisioned someone skiing and falling and hurting themselves. And that's like ski out. Okay.
Oh, no. I ski and I yell, yeah, get out of my way. Here I come.
I like that better.
No more hurts. We don't need that.
Yeah.
It's too beautiful out there.
Thank you so much. You're wonderful.
Love you.
Stay warm. Sending you so much love. Love you.
Right back at you. Thank you, Chelsea. You have a wonderful day.
Thanks, Michelle. You too. Good night.